Buenos dias, Gunners Collective TV. Back at it, you already know. Like a torta with some bad habits. Bye, 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 In a menudo style and direct fashion, we're going to get straight into the content of the day. But before we do, let's hit that like and subscribe button. Put your notification bell on all. Ding! So you're directed in the dope direction of the content that I am bringing. And I highly appreciate all the support. We're going up. Thank you. So I did a video the other day, and I was telling a story about Susanville Prison while I was there, and something that happened in the gym between the Southsiders and the brothers, man. How the Southsiders not caught them slipping, but kind of did a gangster move, man, or whatever kind of move you want to call it, and rushed these guys for whatever reason, you know, all over a picture. Now, in the midst of telling that story, I mentioned also that there was an issue that had arose between a certain group of guys from the Inland Empire, which were Sureño Southsiders as well, and all other Southsiders from the LA area, from wherever they were from, man. Now, I've always known since the Youth Authority, there's been a lightweight little tension with vatos from the Inland Empire. It seems like a lot of them felt like they weren't getting the respect they absolutely deserved. You know, the IE Wiggles, San Bernardino, Riverside, all that gangster shit, right? Known smackers, shooters, hitters. I've met a lot of people incarcerated from the Inland Empire. I got to give them my respects. In fact, this little old bitty tattoo I have right here was done by a vato. He was actually a white guy, a Wood brother in YA from the Inland Empire. Little man, shout out and respects. I don't know where he's at in life, but hopefully it's not off that good white brother, right? He was a good little Wood, man. Solid as they come. He ran with the Southsiders, of course, but at that time, he was doing dirt bad, so he was slinging tattoos for sopas, and I just happened to have a couple sopas, you know, on the line. So now, fast forward to the future, I'm sitting in Jamestown Prison. I've already did my movida, so I'm in the back. I'm in the oil. And I'm waiting for ICC, for my committee to endorse me to another prison. So I'm kind of on standby. I stood like a year back there in the hole, maybe 8 months to a year. I'm not quite sure. I don't remember. It's been that long. But it was a minute. So I seen a lot of people come and go in the hole. When you're in administrative segregation, there's people that go in there for just a few days. There's people that go in there, they get shipped to the SHU, or they get endorsed to other prisons, or there's guys that are in and out, man. I can remember there was this black dude. He kept fucking up out there on the yard. Whatever he was doing, he was aggravating the officers, fucking up with their blood pressure, right? So they kept sending him to the hole. He'd get out, come in, get out. It's just the way it was. But the DNA and the makeup of this administrative segregation was more so, there was a lot of Mexicans in there, a lot of Southsiders, a lot of Norteños, man. People falling off, dropping out, people fucking getting off, whatever. So I'm sitting there with my cellie. We're kicking back, trying to pass time like we do. And what we had was group yard. Okay, we had already given up the ghost, meaning we were already no longer active. So what they would do to test our ability and to see if we were sleepers or if we were really about that program was they would put us on these mixed yards, right? Group yards. Non-active Southerners, non-active Northerners, whites, blacks, whatever the case may be. We usually went to program towards the evening time, towards nighttime. And it was cold as fuck out there. I remember snowing, just out there on the yard, trying to do push-ups in the snow. It was just all bad. But we looked forward to the breath of fresh air and just getting out of our cells. After you've done so much time in the hole, even line movement to the shower is better than just being in that cell all day. You only understand if you understand. You only know if you know. So anyways, this particular day, man, we had heard the alarms go off. So something cracked out there on the yard. I'm not too sure exactly who kicked it off, who started it, but I could tell you the story that was told to me from the individuals who done it. So anyways, shit cracks off. I'm not really paying attention to who they're bringing in the hole. It's none of my business, right? So it's time for night yard. Me and my cellie, we get ready. Our cell was going to go out. They would release like maybe 6 or 7 cells to go to the yard, and then it was like a split yard, and then they'll release the next 6. We'll go out there for an hour, 2 hours sometimes if the cop was cool, and then the next guys would go out there. So it was never always the same exact people. Your cellie, of course, and then whoever else they decided to put you there with. You could have a homeboy that you were trying to get to the yard with for a week, but it just wouldn't happen. And we didn't have yard consistent. Yard is not consistent in prison. No program is consistent, especially on a 180 or any type of yard like that, a 4 or a 3 yard, there's always something popping. It's always slammed. Programs always slammed down. They always use that same old excuse. We don't have enough staff, so you guys aren't going to have program today. And you just chalk it up. You can't argue about it. You can write a 602 grievance form, whatever you want to do. It ain't going to change shit. You just ain't getting yard. Nor showers. You're lucky you fuckers eat. That's it, right? Mail, psh, after they read it, reread it, jacked off to it, and did whatever they did to it, then you get it. It's all maniacoed up, right? Dicked up. So anyways, we go to the yard this day, and I remember there was a good solid white dude. He was an ex-Wood. He had dropped out, man. And that was my taita on that yard, man. He was cool. We used to play basketball or whatever. We'd chop it up. He was from Southern California. He was from Venice. And he kind of tell me to get down with the skins over there and exactly what it was. So I like to go out whenever we'd go out with him because he had cool conversation. He was a rowdy motherfucker, just off the hook, right? Type of white dude, always fussing and yelling and pushing and busting and arguing with the cops. But he was entertainment. And when you're in prison, you need a little bit of entertainment. Just something to break up the monotony. Sounds like that song Summertime by Will Smith, huh? Anyways, so we're at the yard, we're on the yard, and all of a sudden, you know, they bring everyone they're going to bring out there, and all of a sudden I see fucking the gate swing or the door swing open. Cop comes to the gate. That means he's bringing someone else. I'm thinking, oh, maybe they forgot someone in their cell. Maybe he convinced them. Because usually if they pass by your cell, you're not ready to go to yard, they ain't waiting. Fuck you and everything you love. They're gone, right? But they open the door and I say, okay. All of a sudden, I see a whole bunch of bald heads all tatted down, big old whips. And I'm like, oh, no. Are they going to bring these vatos to our yard? So I tell my celly, a couple other homies, the white dude, get ready, bro. You know what I mean? I think they're fucking up. This cop is going to put these fucking Southsiders with us, bro. And we already know they're going to take flight immediately. It's their program. It's what they do, right? So we got to be ready because we're not going out like that. We're going out on our shield, homie. Best believe that. So anyways, these vatos fucking boom. They come in. There's like 6 or 7 of them. I remember, and I was like, oh, one keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And the shortest little one with the biggest whip seemed to be the little ringleader, right? So as soon as they get onto the yard, we're kind of in the corner, like ready. They all go into the corner, they start chopping it up, and they're laughing and whatever. And so I'm like, fuck it, bro. It's now or never. So me and the white dude walk up to him. We're like, what's up, bro? What's good, right? What's happening? And they're like, oh, what's up, Bessie? They're like, yeah, IE, Inland Empire. And so I'm like, all right, that's cool, but are you activated, right? Are you ready to get your superhero on? That's what you do in prison, man. You don't know. It was so confusing back then. I can only imagine now. You know, you don't know who's active, who's non-active, who's willing to do you some harm. So anyways, that little vato, he's like I said, the ringleader. You could just tell he has the leadership qualities. I'm like, hey, bro, are you vatos active, eh? Right? I ain't gonna lie. It was a few little butterfly. There was a lot of vatos there, man. There was only a few of us. And these other brothers that were there, they were playing basketball. They ain't trying to get involved. That's Mexican business, right? There was an Asian cat. He was sitting there. I don't even know what he was there for, man. I felt like kicking him in the face because I think he was in there for something weird. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. He was just too quiet. They're like, nah, bro. We're over here now. The other side, basically. And I'm like, you mind me asking what happened, right? So this is what happened. So I guess there was a vato that pulled up. All 6 of these dudes were not only from the IE, but they were all from one barrio, one hood, right? And that's crazy to have. But I mean, with the Southsiders, they're deep everywhere they go, man. So it's not odd to see like 18th Streeters. You'll see now they're all different cliques and different sides, south or west, LA or whatever. But there'd be like 15 18th Streeters on the yard, or Pomona 12th Street Sharkies, 3 or 4 of them, or fucking Florencia, 10 of them. So it wasn't odd to see a lot of Southsiders from the same barrio. But these vatos are actually homeboys from the calles. How they met up and how they got this deep, I don't know. But anyways, I guess the story goes, one of their homeboys pulled up that week, and he was getting tripped on for some reason in his building. I don't know if he fucked up, if he had bad paperwork. I don't know the details, man. They didn't tell me. Just that they were tripping on him. And so, of course, his homeboys try to come to his defense. Now, in prison, the hood shit is gone. It's supposed to be out the window. But we all know, look, I'm going to keep it real with you. If you have a homeboy from your body or your hood, that's your boy, right? You're going to do what you got to do to look out for him. If he's fucking up, it's going to be on you pretty much to remove him, right? Because you know him better than anyone else and he trusts you. But you're not trying to let any of your homeboys slip, man. I remember in the youth authority, my boy Squeaks, rest in peace, man, got there and he was bumping heads with the homeboy Chino from Stockton. And Chino wanted to drop him Leva and all that. And there was no way that me and my boy Beebs was going to let that go down. So we actually went to the fucking church area and told him, hey, homie, if you fucking try to drop the homie or do something bad to him, we're going to start doing bad things to your homies. That's just the way it is. You know, and we did that because we were doing selective politicking. Because he was from our hood, I don't give a fuck what he did to you, eh? As long as he ain't no weirdo, no chirujo, or none of that weird shit. If he ain't over there fucking jacking dudes off, he's good in my hood, right? And the homie just didn't like him, and eventually, man, they ended up becoming pretty cool. But we shut that shop down. So I could understand these guys feeling however they were feeling. Now, this guy, I guess, and he was one of the guys that was there, had fucked up. He was fucking with someone's old lady or something like that, I guess. That's what I think happened. These vatos were pressing him. So these vatos from this hood made it like an IE thing. Now, there was other vatos from the Inland Empire there. Vatos from Riva, vatos from San Bernardino, whatever, that whole area. But they weren't from that hood. And for the life of me, I can't remember exactly what vato that was. But anyways, I guess these vatos got together, and the Southsiders felt like, hey, these vatos are going to look out for this guy no matter what. They're trying to stop us from removing this guy. They're trying to fuck up our program, what we got going on. So they got at these guys like, hey, homie, your homie's got to go. Whatever, right? These vatos weren't going to let it happen. So they try to fight it. They fight it. They fight it. They politic. They did whatever. Eventually, there got a lightweight, I guess, green light kind of put on all of them, where they were all considered trash. They all were going to have to go. They got wind of this shit, and they made their next move, their best move. They went out to the yard and handled their business. Now, it wasn't no big old thing. They didn't stab everyone. They just got off. I think a few of them got off, and the rest of them just kind of like fell off with them, like, hey, we got to go too. And that was it, man, the IE. So they made their move. Now, I've been to plenty of places, and I see plenty of videos where vatos from Inland Empire feel like they don't get that respect because vatos from LA be set tripping. And look, since I've been young, NYA, the LA car when it comes to the Southsiders is always the deepest. Didn't matter what vato you were from in Los was the deepest, right? You had San Diego coming in second place. The Valle, of course, SGV always rocked efficiently. The 805 area, Oxnard, Chiques, fucking Lompoc, Bakers, Santa Bruta, Santa Maria, all that area were fucking, that carro, that Ranfla was vicious. I've told stories about it. I think the 805 was probably the most treacherous and dangerous, and the SGV to us as Norteños, because they were the vatos that felt like putting in that work. LA kind of like was king of the situation. The IE, albeit they were deep and they were down, homie, I ain't gonna take nothing from them. There wasn't as many of them. So the vatos from LA kind of try to like play them out of pocket, I guess a little bit. This was YA, this was youth authority, kiddie game shit. In prison, it's a whole different animal, different story. They all come together as one. That's just politics. Same thing with Norteños, regardless if it's a small little city or a big city like Sanjo or a small little city like Exeter or Farmersville, you're always gonna embrace your homie. But these vatos, like I said, because they were from the same barrio, they chose to band together. So they got off. They got off with whoever they needed to get off with these Southsiders, man, because they felt like these vatos were making it an IE issue. So anyways, when they come to the hole, they're all cool dudes. And I remember thinking like, fuck, are these guys sleepers? Is there a fucking evil plan here? Are the Placas setting me up? Right? Are they trying to set us up by bringing all these cats? Because I didn't understand why they would keep them all together. But there was a gang coordinator there in Susanville, man. His name was Walsh, right? He was, look, out of any officer I've ever met in my life, I could say this vato was cool. He used to come, I used to draw, because I do tattoo work here and there. I don't do it anymore. But I used to draw pretty good. So he used to come to my cell, and I remember he used to be hitting me up all the time. Hey, draw me a picture of Johnny Cash. Draw me a portrait of Johnny Cash. And I used to be like, get the fuck away from my cell, weirdo, right? But he was one of those cops that if you had good rapport with him, if you kept it respectful, you didn't have to snitch and tell him shit. But if you just kept it decent with him, he'd walk by every cell. He knew everybody's name, what body they were from, their moniker, their placazo, whatever you want to call it. He knew what was up. He had a rapport with people. Again, I felt like he was always trying to dig and find shit out. But of course, if you're a real one and you understand that, man, there's a limit to what you can say. Now, a lot of the active guys even had conversations with him. So it wasn't like, because a vato was non-active, he was just sitting there fucking having a full-blown conversation with the placa. This guy was respected by everyone. He would do little things for you. He would pass coffee, pass letters, notes. Of course, he'd scan the shit, make sure you weren't passing gang paraphernalia. But he would look out, and he was at At that time in Susanville, my brother was in High Desert on B Yard functioning. They were slammed back in the oil because they had got into it with the Kumis. The Norteños and the Kumis had got into it. This was, I believe, in 2008, right? If I recall. And he came and he was like, he recognized my last name was the same as my brother's. And he was like, hey, you got a family member, a brother or something over there in High Desert? I said, yeah. He said, all right, I'm going to let him know you're here. I said, that's cool, man. That's cool. Thank you, man. Good looking out. Now, of course, I was not active. My brother was still active and shit doing his thing. But still, you know, it felt good to know that he knew us. Eventually, he did come back. He slid back, and because he worked both facilities. They're just across the street from each other. And he came and he was like, hey, yeah, your brother, I seen him, man. I told him you were over here. He said, that's what's up. And he sends his, and I love you and all that, right? And I felt, thank you for that. I didn't feel indebted because he's a cop, man. He chose to do that, but it was cool, you know? So anyways, him putting all these fucking guys from IE on the yard was, I guess he looked out for them. I guess he felt like they were being taken advantage of or whatever. But it's the truth, man. These guys all decided, and I've never seen it. I've never seen a mass exodus or Vatos fucking roll it up together, or they just say, you know what, fuck it, we're done, humps. It ain't that serious. They chose their barrio, their friends from the streets, over the cause, you know, the bigger group. And I always thought that was funny because, look, trip out. When you're a gang member, man, you're from a barrio or hood. I got homeboys to this day that are still my homeboys. They're not into politicking. They never been in prison. They're homies and shit. They're still in good standings, but they don't play that. They're like, hey, bro, we're not going to let a whole bunch of dudes that ain't even from our barrio and our hood dictate our program and tell us who we can and can't talk to. And I always let them know, look, you got to be of the understanding, Holmes, that if you get incarcerated, this fraternizing with the other side can get you caught up. And you know, most of them are like, man, I don't give a fuck about these Vatos from other cities. They ain't going to tell me shit. That's just hood shit. Every hood does it. You know, you got love for your people. It is what it is. I told you, now if they clap you, that's on you. I felt like these guys from IE, you know, they felt the same way. They felt like, nah, fuck that. You're trying to do our homeboy dirty. We're not going to go out like that. But you can't fight the cause, man. You can't fight the bigger group. Doesn't matter who you are. Nobody is above somebody unless you're that somebody that is above everybody. And if you know what I'm saying, read between them lines. So these guys, they took flight. So I got at the little dude one day and I'm like, well, what'd you guys do, bro? How'd you guys do the movida? And he was like, well, 4 of us were in one building. A couple of us were in another building. The homeboy that they were trying to get at was in my building. He said, so we sat down in the day room to chop it up and trying to clear some shit up. It was already done, though. They already wanted to do this dude in. He was surprised that they didn't do him in already, but they wanted his own homeboys to do him in. So it was kind of like they were these guys from the IE were trying to talk these Vatos out of the shit. And he never told me exactly. Had to do something with the chick, but he never told me exactly, you know, his homeboy was there. I never asked, you know, what or why. I'm pretty sure he didn't have bad paperwork because they had whacked him first day. So anyways, I think it was more of a personal thing. Someone knew someone and that was that. And that's how it is in prison. That's all it takes, man. There's dirty macking, dirty politicking that happens on yards, you know. You could come on a yard, someone don't like you for whatever reason. They were in a different prison. You were that one there. Now all of a sudden you're not that one. They are, and they're going to dirty mack you, dirty politic you, throw you up under the bus, get you removed. People do it all the time. You know, it's fucked up. For the most part, 99% of the removals and shit that happens on the yards are justified. Hey, fools got that coming. They fucked up, right? I understand that. But there are times, man, when Vatos get fucking, you know, there's false info that comes out. There really ain't paperwork. People jump the gun. And they will suffer the repercussions for jumping the gun. But until then, you're still all bad. I seen a Vato get removed. Didn't do anything wrong. The other Vato fucking, that did him dirty, he ends up getting removed. And these Vatos are cellies. Yeah, I seen it, right? So it's crazy in prison. Shit happens. But anyways, this guy was like, yeah, we just, day room, man, we had words, bro, and we just popped it off right there. This quick little melee, man, little 4-on whatever. And they got jumped on and that's it. They got theirs and they all came to the hole. When they went to the hole, I guess that was that shit, that incident we heard going off. That was them in the evening time getting off. And then, like I said, a couple days later, we went to yard and that's when they put them all in the yard with us. And that was the only time, well, the little dude that I talked to, him and a couple of his homeboys, every once in a while they'd split them up. So a couple of them were cellies, they had cellies. So sometimes I'd see them on the yard. I was tripping why they brought them all to the yard. But I guess that dude Walsh had looked out. It was the only time that he was going to bring them all out together to kind of chop it up. And that was it since that incident, man. They all ended up getting shipped out. And it wasn't no big IE LA thing. like you think it was just that one neighborhood from the IE. I can't remember. I wish I could, man. But that was it, man. There was a lot of shit that popped off in Susanville when I was there. A lot of, the Norteños and the blacks got off. The blacks and the Southsiders got off. The others and the Southsiders got off. It seemed like in places like Susanville, the White House, Susie's house, right? Skinhead land. That's, what's up, brother? The woods are deep. It seemed like the minority was always getting off on each other, man. The woods never got off, really. They didn't have to. They were hella thick. They weren't trying to do all that. I mean, if it came down to it, they would, but they didn't. Anyways, man, there's the story. Someone asked me to do it. They were like, hey, what happened with the IE in LA? The shit that happens all the time, Holmes. Vatos fucking get caught up in the mix, Like I said, it wasn't that they were hating on the IE or had nothing to do with that, because there was a lot of Vatos from IE still there. It just more so had to do with that particular individual and his homeboy saying, fuck that. We ain't going out like that. Anyways, they were cool dudes, man. I remember one of them, he thought he could play handball. He couldn't play shit. Right? Hey, you can't play handball there anyways, man. It fucking against the, it just sucks in that oil. Some places you do have a handball court. I remember in Jamestown in the hole, they had a handball court, but it was like brick. So if you hit the ball wrong, it fucking shot over there. It sucked. And then once you hit your ball over, it's over. It's a wrap. The placas ain't going to give you another ball. That's it. You get 2 balls on the yard and fuck you. Pay me. That's it. Anyways, with that being said, I hope that you move smooth with a purpose. Get everything that you want coming. And remember, at the end of the day, it's all about the strive, the struggle, the struggle, the strive. I tell you these stories because they're truth and facts, but I also tell you this because I'm not trying to glorify it, but it's just the truth. Someone asked me to tell you guys, and again, respects to Inland Empire, respects to all the Southsiders that were there. Shit just happens, man. Isolated incidences. It wasn't like fucking Vatos all got green lighted. Them Vatos, once they chose to go to the oil and get off, they were considered no good. Trash, basura, whatever you want to call them. And I guess their hood shit meant more. They accepted that. And that's just the way it is. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive, struggle, strive for what I honestly and truly believe in, and that's the betterment of all people, man. Let's come together. Let's make it happen. Bang, bang.